Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 11th of December. So looking at the euro dollar first, and well, at the moment we're putting in a lovely pivot swing. Of course this is this day's not finished today, so let's have a look at this shorter time frames. Well, we've run back into its weekly pivot. Key point here is whether we roll over from this point or whether we break that weekly pivot. To me, we could still travel on towards the 34.50 above. We do have the actually we haven't quite caught the weekly pivot. Just looking at the shorter time frame here, just air kissed it, but it may be sufficient. But it's whether we roll from here. Perhaps if we roll through it at 60-minute 8, we could be on for the daily pivot, which is a below. That would suggest that maybe a continuation to the downside. Now, of course, from a daily perspective, we did put the doji in there on Friday, which is a bit of a reversal bars on time, but they don't always mean that everything's going to reverse. But as I say, at the moment it is shaping up quite nicely. Just to be aware on the upside before we get too positive on it, I mean, it could just run simply into that daily 8 and roll. So there are a couple of things I'm looking at. That daily 8 sitting at 1807. Let's just come back to the 60-minute 1807, which it's just through the 118 area in the first place, which was a round number, which again may just create some resistance around that point. In fact, it looks like it's selling off a little bit from where it's sitting at the moment. Okay, so that's a euro looking really, the trend is bearish, and there's the potential roll anyway here. If it does break the weekly pivot, I have to become a bit more bullish maybe. Okay, the pound, let's have a look at the pound. Just come down to that daily point of view. It got into a bit of a chop in the end on Friday. Managed to hold on to make some gains on the Thursday. Friday we sold those, saw those gains disappeared again, and well, if anything, it looks like it could be selling back to the downside. But as I say, it's held on pretty well of late. It's I think probably from a daily perspective, I'd be looking at that daily 21 as a sort of a point of, well, if it starts breaking that, it could be weaker and roll over further. So that's the sort of the line in the sand from that perspective. We've already caught the weekly pivots. Just looking from this 4-hour picture in a sense, and well, that looks like it's almost in a sort of little bear flag position on that 4-hour. Now, before I move from here, it still effectively is in a bit of an upward trend. As I said, it was a bit choppy on Thursday and Friday, but if you overall look at this sort of what we saw here with the higher lows at least, and up until the sort of the midweek, late week there, it wasn't doing too bad either with the highs there. So a bit choppy, but as I say, at the moment it's looking like it could well roll over, and that's already caught the daily and weekly pivot there. So it's sitting on its the bearish side here anyway. So overall, very quite a bearish view there. Nothing to really push to look too upside at the moment. Okay, dollar yen. Well, it's got its weekly pivot well below us, which could be a draw at some point. It's currently just come here. So we'll look at some RSI. Yeah, there is a bit of divergence into the highs there. Could roll back for its weekly pivot if it's manages to get below that 4-hourly 8 properly. It's had a little sort of snip at it. It's got the daily pivot, which is just working off, and it may be that's the pivotal area, no pun intended. But if it breaks that daily pivot, maybe we could be on then towards that weekly pivot. Now, of course, weekly pivots can be hit quite early on or challenged a little bit, but at least Friday's lows there could be a potential target there. So if not the pivot, weekly pivot straight away, if it starts breaking through that pivot, looking, as I say, for Friday's lows. Okay, Aussie dollar. Funny old price action on Aussie dollar again. Another doji day here, and it is at the moment pushing up towards the weekly pivot. Just struggling at the 4-hourly 21 at the moment. It may just limit it. this morning at least. It's already caught its daily pivot. The range was quite tight on Friday, even with the non-farm payrolls. We didn't see a lot of movement. Just had caught the daily pivot, but not a lot else. It's already, as I say, caught the daily pivot here. See how we run with the other markets. If they start rolling over, again, this could be a bit of a sell back. It's not got a lot of mileage in it, really. 24, not even 20 pips back to lows, really. So there's not a big move in it, but it could just roll back towards Friday's lows and maybe push on further to the downside. As the Aussie and the the Aussie as the pound and the euro looks a bit bearish as well. Could just be seeing follow suit here. Not too short scan on my pivots here, actually. Really need a refresh, so going to have a bit of a problem looking at those, but I can look at the bigger picture here on the Canadian dollar. And well, the reason the pivot's a bit weird is for some reason I've got a bit of a blip there from yesterday. Sunday's data is being counted. For some reason that will soon disappear on my charting package, so I'm going to have to ignore that for a moment and just look at what else is below. We do have the weekly pivot sitting below us. Any sort of break that 4 hourly 21 may just confirm and move towards the area. When you're looking, there's a divergence into the highs running there late Friday, so that started selling off a little bit. So this could potentially be the sort of the stronger one against the US dollar, but I'd rather see the more correlated, i.e. the euro, the pound pushing up and the Canadian dollar pushing down together. So I'd be watching this carefully, but it has got the potential back for that weekly pivot. Okay, that's pretty much it for me from that point of view. A quick look at the news today, and well, it's as ever. It was non-farms on Friday, and it's got nothing of any significance I can see here. I'm just checking I haven't got any filters on for any currencies. Nope, there's no filters there, and there's nothing of any significance being reported today, so we're down purely to the technicals. So there you go. Have a great day. Bye for now.